Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. Today we'll be talking about things which does not define you. This is really important to understand because so often we find ourselves being defined by what happened to us or how we responded to certain situations or what we did or what we do or what we think or what we feel. So we forget who we truly are, and therefore we lose ourselves in that internal sensations as the byproducts of life. So remember what an English actor, Bob Hoskins, said: "What we do does not define who we are. What defines us is how well we rise after falling." So, my friends, remind yourself that you're not defined by who your parents were. Doesn't matter from what kind of background you're coming from. You're here to write your own story. You're here to paint your own pictures. You're here to design your own life. You're here to remind yourself of who you are, to create an unique impact which can only happen through your heart. Remind yourself that you are not who your parents were, even though you're carrying their genes, even though you're carrying their stories, their memories, even though you're carrying their wisdom. It's important to appreciate the wisdom of our ancestors, the genes of our ancestors. We are still here creating and designing and writing our own stories. Our genes can be changed according to epigenetics. You change your mind and you change your genome expression. Your body can be changed through consistent changing of your internal state. So you're not defined by who your parents were. Appreciate the wisdom of your ancestors, but always remind yourself that you're here to write your own story. You're here to walk your own path. You're here to design your own life. You're here to create a unique impact, which can only happen through your heart, my friends. Also remind yourself that you are not defined by mistakes you've made in the past. So we may find out that we only do what we think or know that is the best thing to do. And sometimes we feel a bit tired, and sometimes we feel a bit lazy, and we do things out of laziness or out of being tired. And often we are emotionally reacting towards certain circumstances, and we react out of the certain emotional states. And we may say, well, we did some mistakes there, we did something wrong there, we could be kinder, we could be more loving. But that's what we did to gain the feedback, how to be better, how to be kinder, how to be more loving. So don't let those actions from the past define who you are in the present. Because, whatever you did brought you an important insights and wisdom. So you can realize right at this moment what not to do and what feels right. Right? We always can sense what feels right at this moment if we learn to ground ourselves, if we learn to step outside of our mind to get deeper into our hearts. Right? How to speak from the heart, not just from the mind. How to follow the love and not just the ego. How to be more creative and less judgmental. Don't let your mistakes define you in the present moment. Don't let your mistakes from the past define you in this present moment. Remember that if present moment is an infinite field of potentials, so are you. Deep in the present moment, there is no definition of who you're supposed to be. Therefore, there is an infinite field of potentials who you might be. So it means that you can tap into any kind of potential if you let go of the definition of who you think you are because of what happened in the past. This is mind-blowing when we start tapping deeper into stories we are constantly telling to ourselves, which are kind of defining us. Stories which we are repeating to ourselves, which are limiting our experience in the present moment. So, if in the present moment we are all creators, as the extension of the Creator, the Source, God, whatever, and we are holding within that kind of a magic power which is helping us to choose freely what will we do in this moment. And most often we don't actually choose freely what we'll do. We choose the next step based by our past experiences. Which is okay when it comes to safety, when it comes to understanding what can be scary or dangerous. But when it comes to tapping into greatness, and when it comes to putting ourselves onto the next stage of our evolution maybe, or growth or expansion, we need to let go of the stories which are not allowing us to do that. Sometimes it may happen that you may want to make certain dreams into reality, but there are stories which are telling to you why you can't do that. And you allowed yourself to trust and surrender the stories more than you trust and surrender your dreams. And there's a free choice you can make. Will you still believe, trust and surrender, or will you still be surrendering to those memories from your past, or are you willing to surrender to your dream from the future? You know, you can decide that, and the choice is yours, and that is your responsibility to choose that. Also remind yourself, you're not defined by what people say about you. People may say anything about you, but they're actually saying what they think about themselves. So they see their wrongs in yourself. They see their fears in yourself. They see their wants and needs in yourself, and they turn it into a negative story. So don't trust what people are saying about you, because life is not about them. Your life is firstly about finding yourself, to see how to open your heart so you can become that great channel of your higher self, or greater self, or real you. What people say about you does not define you. So always remember that when you will fall into those emotional reactions because something said something about you, well, it's a great time to just disconnect yourself from that happening and go into the nature, because nature is not judging you. Or go to do something you love to do, so you can plug yourself back to love. So you can unplug yourself from those emotional reactions, because you only feel scared or sad or angry or frustrated or whatever just because you've unplugged yourself from who you are. And you've unplugged yourself from who you are because you've lost yourself in those emotional reactions. So emotional reactions are a natural response to what is happening in our life based by our understanding and state of awareness. So to accept rather than just respond, to allow ourselves to let go of what is not serving us anymore. It means that we need to build a greater pillar on which we are experiencing our lives. And that pillar needs to be built on a greater state of awareness. Once you start defining yourself as the spirit, as the infinite consciousness, as life itself, you will see that it doesn't matter what people will say about you. You will know that those are just empty words. Those are just empty words. And people which are saying them because they don't know how to speak wiser, how to speak with greater depth, how to tap deeper into the heart and actually express it. So those are the people which need more love, those are the people which need more compassion, and those are the people which are actually learning how to become more loving. And how they are speaking is just how they are learning to, to accept more, to understand more. So don't let yourself to be defined by what people say about you. Your relationships where you weren't your best self are also not defining you. And you need to understand that, because often we may be in a certain relationship because we just want to get something in return. We may be good at people pleasing, which is also not the best version of ourselves. We may be in relationships where we experience a lot of anger, where we are also not the best version of ourselves, and sometimes we just don't know how to deal with those emotional reactions. So remember that relationships where you are not your best self does not define you. In relationships where you are not the best self, you are actually teaching and studying yourself how to be more aware, or how to set greater boundaries, which can help you to become your greatest self even in any kind of a relationship. So everything feels like a school where we are studying ourselves. And while that studying, we'll go through ups and downs and ups and downs. But ups are always higher than downs. Why? Because every time you go through ups, you look back and you see what you went through. So when you go down, you now know better how to stop falling, right? You know better what not to repeat. So every time, ups are higher than downs. Even if it feels like you go up and you go down and you go up and you go down, ups are always higher than downs. Because the transformation and the evolution of your rise of consciousness is happening in spiral, in upward spiral. And it means that whatever you are moving through, you are gaining memories, experiences, knowledge, wisdom, and therefore every moment you are a new person. Every moment you are a new being. Every moment you are more evolved. And therefore, even when you go through ups and downs, you are never the same. You are never reacting the same as before. Even if it feels like you're reacting the same as before, there are tiny little changes you are slowly creating. So there would be less downs and more ups until your life becomes perfectly balanced. So if you remind yourself that your relationships where you are not your best self are not defining you, then again you become unlimited, right? You accept yourself that you did maybe something unconsciously, you did maybe something unkind, or you did something which is not truly an embodiment and expression of your higher self or of your best self, but it doesn't mean that you are a bad person. It doesn't mean that you are a wrong person. It means that you're learning and you're doing your best. And that's enough. You are completely enough. So, my friends, as you become aware that all of what is happening for you and to you in your life is not defining you, you may recognize that you are truly an open book, with unlimited stories to write, with unlimited possible potentials to experience. And all you need to do is just to learn to unlimit yourself, to learn to let go, to learn to detach from false definition of yourself. Learn to just unplug yourself from what is actually not defining you anymore. Learn to unplug from the false definitions of who you think you are, and suddenly you will become everything you're meant to be. This is it for today, my friends. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting. Have a beautiful day, and thanks for supporting my art in my Etsy shop. I draw my passion. You are truly appreciated. Till next time, one love.